Total athlete kicking is it's something that's very unique. It's not your normal kicking camp. Most kicking camps are about just growing as a kicker, growing as a punter or a long snapper, but I'm really wanting to develop and teach young men how to be a total athlete, and that entails physically, mentally, as well as spiritually. So William Testa, I got connected with while he's been in Italy, and we've been taking trips over to Italy the last 5 years, and we've just been talking about him coming over and training with me for about a week and try to get him recruited. I knew that he was talented. He's known as the best kicker in all of Europe, and I really wanted to help pour into him and develop him as a total athlete.
I enjoyed all the time that I spent here, to be honest. I enjoyed all the people I met. I enjoyed training with Coach Tyler.
And as of recent, we've been in Michigan and took him to a recruiting Fab 50 camp with Brandon Kornblue and Kornblue Kicking. And while he was there, he showed up as the best overall kicker punter that was at the camp out of 30 guys.
I think I totally grow as a kicker. Also, I grow with my faith, and that's a very important thing, I think, because I never had a Bible study session, and I took my first here. I never, pray with like many people around me, and this time I did. So I definitely grow because it was something different, something new, and something that I really enjoyed.
So some of my goals are just beyond kicking, beyond the game. Kicking in football in general is just a short time span. It's like if you're lucky, you get 4 to 5 years of college after high school, and then if you're even luckier, you're like the 1%, you get to go off to the NFL, and that's like maybe a 1 or 2 year career at most. That's like the average career. So some of the goals I had with William was I wanted to help him understand who he is as a person, how he can develop those strengths as a person, and also share our faith with him and just ask him if there's any questions that he has and have those conversations. And so it's been a really great week. He's been very amazing and wanting to dive in.
AIA is, something different. It was also something like special. The time I spent with Athletes in Action, the time with Coach Brandon Kornblue, was something that I can explain, because it was something very special to me, and I really appreciate it.
Oui, je disais que le AIA a été une expérience formidable pour moi, parce que je suis venu développer mes connaissances sur le plan professionnel, mais au-delà de ça, j'ai gagné. Ils ont eu un impact sur toute ma vie, parce que sur le plan du leadership, sur le plan de mes relations avec Dieu, sur le plan personnel, sur le plan de la vie, j'ai beaucoup gagné. J'ai partagé avec des gens qui viennent de partout du monde, et c'était vraiment une très bonne expérience. Comme je l'ai dit, j'ai été envoyé ici par ma fédération. Ouais, on attendait de moi de m'améliorer sur le plan de la préparation physique. Mais au-delà, comme je l'ai dit tout à l'heure, AIA a eu un impact formidable dans ma vie, parce que j'ai reçu Dieu dans ma vie. J'ai appris comment être un meilleur leader, comment mieux définir des objectifs, comment rendre des gens meilleurs, comment gérer les conflits qu'il peut y avoir dans une équipe. Et ma première leçon était avec Madame Lisa, à qui j'ai dit merci. Et ce jour, sa leçon est entrée dans mon cœur, et c'est comme ça que j'ai reçu Jésus. Et aujourd'hui, je suis un homme différent. Je remercie AIA pour cette belle expérience. Voilà, pour avoir un impact sur les autres, il faut d'abord être bien soi-même. Et ça, je l'ai reçu ici. Comment devenir un homme meilleur, comment diriger une équipe. Maintenant, je suis prêt pour avoir un impact sur mon équipe, ma famille, ma communauté.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today for the AIA Virtual Tour. We hope this is not only encouraging, informational, and even in some ways helps you as a leader. My name is Eric Nelson, and I've been here serving with Athletes in Action for 17 years. Prior to that, I was an athletic director and a coach for 5 different schools in Texas, the last 8 as an AD and coach. So I understand the many challenges that you have on a day-to-day basis where you feel like if you're going to get any of your work done, you got to get there at 7 in the morning because 9 o'clock, your life is not your own. So I completely understand all the boxes you got to check and the hair on fire moments that you have every day. And I will have to say that being on staff with AIA and taking in many of the resources that we have, as well as taking teams and athletes and coaches through a number of our programs, I just wish I could go back and be the AD and utilize these resources for our teams and our athletes individually as well as coaches. So hopefully today we can give you just a sampling and give you a better idea of the ways we can make you better and make your teams better and your coaches better and to be the total athlete. We are a faith-based organization, but want you to know we have served a variety of audiences over the years. We've been on this campus for 18 years now, but we've had Ohio State's football, Eastern Michigan's football, UD, a number of their sports, Ohio State men's golf, a number of other small colleges. And just last year, we had 52 teams right here on campus for team building. So we understand the complexities and really what athletes and coaches need, and we desire to come alongside you, your teams, your coaches to provide what they need. I want to introduce our new general manager, Ryan Betcher, who was formerly the COO of the Munoz Foundation. And Ryan's just recently joined us. Welcome, Ryan.
Hi, Eric. Thanks for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Excited to be here, excited to be joining you all for this virtual tour. And so thank you for taking the time today and your busy schedules to be here and join us. As Eric mentioned, I'm new here. I've been here for about 2 months and really excited to be joining Athletes in Action and really excited today to be showing you our beautiful campus. We're located just outside of Dayton here in Xenia, Ohio. And we have a beautiful 250-acre campus that houses dorms, banquet center, and some beautiful turfed fields. We have 6 turfed fields, fully turfed fields, that we have 2 soccer fields, 1 football field, a fully turfed baseball field, and 2 fully turfed softball fields as well. And all of those have lights with the exception of 1 softball field. We also have a great challenge course, high ropes and low ropes course, and you'll have an opportunity today to hear from Skylar Reckers, our director of our challenge course, and what we can do from a team building standpoint. I love how Eric talks about his experience as an athletic director and how he understands kind of the role that you guys are in. And you have so much going on, especially right now during these uncertain times. And so for Athletes in Action, what we want to do is we want to be a resource for you and someone that can come alongside you and help you build up your student athletes and into better leaders and into better men and women, and really help you accomplish your mission as an athletic director. And so we have a number of resources available, but what we're going to do today is we're going to show you what our campus has and how we can give you an experience that would allow you to have a great time building into your kids. And so today we'll get into our tour here in just a minute. We'll show you all of our facilities. We'll show you what that experience looks like from an Eastern Michigan football team who's been here and spent a couple of nights in our dorm rooms and utilized our facilities. And then we'll get into, as I mentioned, the Q&A with Skylar and a little bit of what we do from a team building standpoint. We'll hear some testimonials from people who have been here and brought their teams here. And then we'll get into some time with Mitch Barnhart, where he's the athletic director at the University of Kentucky, an opportunity to hear from Mitch and what he can do to serve you. He's a great resource during these uncertain times, and how he is leading the athletic department at the University of Kentucky and has been a partner with Athletes in Action for a very long time. And so thank you for being here. Let's go ahead and get right into the tour.
We pretend like we've got enough on our own here. The root of my psyche, I've looked and looked, I can't be found. Someone told me don't regret nothing, never give up. This place is another home, but can we run safely out into the street? No close by. I don't care, save me. We will always be close by. Things will be shaky, and that's when we go out. I think the look away I will find.
I hope you guys enjoyed that video, an opportunity to see our campus and a tour of our facilities. In that video, you're able to see a little bit of what goes on our ropes course. And we have the opportunity to hear from our challenge course director, Skylar Reckers. And Skylar, go ahead and say hello.
Thanks, Ryan. Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Skylar Reckers, and I have served as the challenge course director here at the complex for the last a little bit more than 2 years now. Before that, I worked at a church camp where I served on the challenge course there as well. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Thanks for joining us. So we've got quite an audience here today. Tell them a little bit about what we do from a team building standpoint out there at the challenge course.
Oh yeah, we have a couple different, a few different options actually as far as team building goes here within Athletes in Action. Here at the complex, we have what is known as both high ropes and low ropes facilities. And so with the high ropes course, it typically tends to be more of like a fun team bonding type experience. You get to have a lot of self-accomplishment, as well as you see the bonding times between the teammates of holding each other accountable, keeping each other safe, as well as encouraging and having fun together. And then with the low ropes, team building, you really get into the aspects of what it looks like to work as a team, different team dynamics, how to develop as a team. And so we cater all of our experiences to you and your team individually. So if it's something like trust, accountability, or communication that you're wanting to really focus on as goals, we can cater different activities and things to do that as well. So, and then in addition to that, we also take just about everything that we can do on the low ropes course. We can take that to you, and we can travel to wherever you're at your location and have a similar experience there. So
that's great. Tell the audience real quick on an ideal size group, and even if there's a minimum age of what age groups we deal with out there on the challenge course.
Yeah, so as far as age, we do have some age restrictions. I have to look at our policy specifically, but I believe it's 11 years old for the low ropes course and 12 years old for the high ropes experience. And then group size, we can handle at one time max group of about 30 people on the high ropes course and roughly 40 on the low ropes course. But that doesn't mean we can't have an experience for your group if you have more than that. And so what we typically would do with a group that's bigger than 30 for the high ropes course, we'll just break them down into 2 groups and then have 2 kind of sessions with them. Typically a group of about 20 people to 30 people can have a high ropes experience in about 3 to 4 hours. Same thing with the low ropes course. We build our programs around 3 to 4 hours depending on the group size. So if you had a football team of 90 guys, we could break it down into 30 or 3 different groups. It would just be 3 different time blocks that we could do. So we can serve any size group. It just depends on what your schedule's like and how many different groups that you can form from that. So
that's great. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. We're going to move right on into some testimonials of some different folks that have been on campus and experienced some of the facilities that we have here to offer.
Hi, it's Ken Moyer from Dayton Christian, head football coach, and I just want to give a shout out to Athletes in Action.
Hi, my name is Scott Stewart. I'm the head boys basketball coach at First Baptist Academy in Naples, Florida.
You talk about impact and leaving a legacy. Athletes in Action comes to mind. I was fortunate to get to know Athletes in Action as a college basketball player at Lee University, and I've carried that on as a basketball coach here at Franklin High School in Ohio. Headquartered in Xenia, Ohio, I'm very fortunate to still get to do a lot with them.
AIA's impact on my life can be described in 3 words: consistent, caring, and captivating.
I've seen unbelievable things that they've done for us. They've given our football players a great place to stay, a great venue to work out, unbelievable facilities. Their staff members have come alongside of us and helped us to understand some of the biblical principles of competition. How do we deal with adversity? How do we get better? How do we grow spiritually just as well as physically?
We had a team building component by the Athletes in Action staff that really improved our communication and also helped for our guys to trust one another.
Consistent, because ever since I stepped foot on campus, there have been people there helping me, wanting me to learn about God and know how to live my life with that knowledge. Caring, because those people have been there, whether staff members or fellow students, they've really listened and cared about who I am and what I've been going through and wanting me to be the best person I can be. Finally, captivating, because it's involved me in the work of God in life. And that is an amazing thing to be part of.
Been very, very thankful in my time to be a part of Athletes in Action, not only as a player, but now as a coach.
It's a great facility, it's a great camp setting, and you won't regret ever using it. So I'd encourage you all, if you're considering it, give Athletes in Action a shout. Thank you.
Well, hello again, coaches. We're privileged to have a good friend of mine and a good friend of Athletes in Action, Mitch Barnhart, the AD from University of Kentucky. So he's the second longest tenured Power 5 conference AD. And in the nation. So Mitch, it's really good to have you on with us today. Thanks for taking the time out to join us and to invest in these guys that heads are spinning for all ADs right now. The whirlwind is happening. So I'm sure it is for you. You're trying to just figure out, can we play football? What's basketball going to look like? You got coaches, student athletes. Talk about your whirlwind and how you manage yourself and even care for coaches right now.
So it's, if I go back in the Wayback Machine, it was March 12th at 12:28 p.m. And I remember because I looked at my watch and I said, wow, we have just done something historic here. And that was canceled the college basketball tournament, which I was on the committee to do that. And I remember thinking to myself, that this is a day that sport has impacted the world we live in. And so it sort of took a leadership position, not in the way you want to take a leadership position, but it said it was going to put health and safety above competition. And the NBA had already done their season, suspended their season. College basketball followed, and then next thing you know, the dominoes began to go. So it's been a tumultuous 6 months, or whatever you want to call it, for the world of sport, specifically college athletics, and it has far-reaching implications. And there's not a day goes by that we don't have staff members, student athletes, and then not to mention our fan bases that remind us of our responsibilities and the things that we are called to do. And so I think that, Eric, to your point, that's weighed heavy on a lot of people. And I can't imagine, it doesn't matter what level you're at. It is relative to where you live, and you feel those pressures from different places. So for us, I've had really specific conversations with our staff, and it started back in March and April, when all this was changing. And I said, our focus is to sustain our student athletes and our sports programs. How do we keep that flowing at a level where those experiences, they may have to be modified to look a little, we may travel different, rather than flying, we might have to bus, or the meal might look different, or the competition we're going to might look different. But how do we sustain what we know to be the overarching piece of college athletics, and that's our student athletes and our sports and their education? Secondly, how do we sustain our family, our employees, and the folks that absolutely feed their people, to feed their families to the table of college athletics? And that's important. Then the third one is one that is most public, and that's how do we sustain our fan base and keep them engaged with us, because we know that they're going through some financial crunches of their own, and they're our lifeblood to be able to keep all this alive. So we've got to keep them engaged and keep them excited about what we're doing. So those are our focuses and how we've done it. I go back to difference between objective and purpose. And our objective is to sustain college athletics. Our overarching purpose is much different from that.
So I've just known that you care a lot about your coaches, and they know that. Talk about what you've done to just invest in them personally during this time.
Yeah, so about 11 years ago, Eric, I went through and I had 190 employees at that point in time. Now we've got 260, so it looks a little different. But I tried to go through, and I did an individual meeting with every employee over a period of time. It took a while. And I said, I haven't done that in a decade, and this is probably a pretty good idea to find out what's on their minds. So I told them in May, I said I was going to organize it and spend some time with all 260 people. And so I'm about 20% of the way through that. I try and do a couple day that I get a chance. And I know it's going to take me 4 to 6 months, but just to say, are we on purpose? Are we being thoughtful? Are we meeting the needs of our folks the right way? So I've got about 5 or 6 stock questions. Some of them are 50,000 foot questions. Some of them are in the weeds kind of questions. And then I do what they call, if anybody's ever gone roller skating or ice skating, the old all skate session where you can sort of free think something. And I said, just tell me what's on the brain, what's on the top of your brain. This is your time to tell me. And so some of them are very heartfelt, and some of them are very specific, and they've got some specific thoughts about how we get better. And so I take a lot of notes and do a lot of listening. And then the other thing I think we've done is we've tried to be thoughtful in terms of counseling and things like that. We've got 2 mental health professionals on our staff. And so whether that relates to a high school counselor or counselors or people within the schools that you work, We've got 2 full-time. I'm probably going to add a couple more because we've got young people and we've got staff members that need to be able to talk to someone, and that's not me. I mean, it's way out of my wheelhouse, and I want to make sure that they're getting people that can give them professional guidance. And so we're trying to work our way through that just through this really challenging time. And so talking to them and listening, and then making sure they have access to services that they might need. And then the third piece is we have done an amazing job, and I'm really proud of my staff of how hard they've worked about keeping everybody healthy in terms of sanitizing and following protocols. Our folks have been really, really good. And so those 3 things, we're trying to keep physical health, mental health, and then just find a way to sustain people and keep them strong.
So one of the questions we had from one of the guys listening today was, how do you just balance the safety of the student athlete as well as the need to, everybody wants to compete. They want to play, they want to compete. You may have the ability to have a few more resources, but you still have to make decisions. How are we going to keep everybody safe and still push forward in competition? So what practical things or advice would you give about that?
Yeah, I think that number one, I think the minute you take your hat off, this health and safety hat, and you immediately say, well, how do we be competitive? How are we competitive? You've made a huge mistake. So I think health and safety has to be first and foremost, and those are separated. Health is one thing, safety is another. All right. So I can do all I can do to ensure health. Hand sanitizers, masks, the whole thing. We can do all that. We can do the social distancing. We can set up protocols, anything like that. That's something I can control. Safety is about being risk. How much risk are you willing to take? And that's different. That's more of a personal decision. So we're trying to give people a latitude to make those kind of personal decisions as to what kind of risk they're willing to take. And understanding life is not risk-free. Okay. There is part of this we're going to have to walk through and understand that. So we're trying to find the balance between saying, we don't only care about health and safety, we're going to be scared to do this, or, we don't care about anything. We're going to go, damn the torpedoes. We're in this thing. So we're not doing that. And so we try and find that balance of saying, let's make smart decisions about how we're being healthy, and let's say, hey, we're willing to go out there and show that we've got leadership, we've got some courage to do some things that help move our culture and our world forward. And so that's been important to us. I think that our folks know that we care, and so we're working at that. I think that's at every level you're going to have to figure out where that balance is. But to live in one camp or the other is probably a little dangerous.
That's really good, Mitch. Really good. So, there's a lot of evaluation of athletes that's changed, and inability to go out and see people. And not everybody obviously is an SEC athlete, but for a AD that is trying to help their coaches, help their kids, any advice about getting seen or just in terms of evaluation?
I'd say that what's interesting is, I'll be honest with you, I think our recruiting has got more efficient, in terms of our coaches. I mean, we saved literally thousands and thousands of dollars in travel. We don't have to go places. You can do this all day long. Now, what I can't get from this is the first 2 principles of our program is the character and integrity piece of the program and the kind of person that I'm bringing into our locker room. So that's the part that you miss, where you really feel like you need to be just across a coffee table or a dinner table from somebody where you can have a chance to see them and get to know them personally. So my challenge would be to everyone to say 2 things. One, you can get all the information you want off the computer in terms of skill sets, and you can see fast hands. You can see whatever you want to see, explosiveness, or all the things that coaches want to know. We can see that. What you can't determine is fit for your locker room. So don't ever I think what we have learned and this is not new, right? So what we found out is fit in your locker room is so important. And our coaches have missed that part of it. So I think that has been the most challenging piece to all this. I would argue you have no issues evaluating talent through this system we've got here. You do have challenge evaluating the heart. And so getting to the heart of people and finding out what makes them tick and what they will bring to your locker room or to your team is more critical than the evaluation of a film.
That's so good. We, Mitch, we've talked today to these ADs about about being the total athlete, and that's what our mission is: body, mind, and spirit. You've had some AIA involvement, or some of your kids have, or just talk about, and you've had AIA even on your campus. Talk about the value that it can provide for an AD to have a team or bring athletes even to our campus and develop the total athlete.
Well, I don't think that there's any mistaking that when I came to Kentucky, and this is year 19 for me at Kentucky, I would argue our culture in our locker rooms and the heartbeat of our young people was not great. We were distant in a lot of areas from everything. There was no connectivity from our teams. As we have built culture and as we have offered opportunities for our young people to be involved in groups that meet, and we've provided those windows. We've got multiple groups that meet on our campus, but some very specific ones that we try and have our kids meet. And so I'll give you a great example of probably 3 or 4 years ago, we had a group that wanted to meet and have a Bible study on a Monday night, and I think 5 showed up. 5. 4 years later, we're averaging about 200 every Monday night. 200. And I don't show up because they don't want the old guy there, right? So it's just for them. It is their opportunity to share with each other and to spend time. They sing a little bit. They spend some time. Those are just our student athletes doing that. And that's an awesome deal. And what I found is as that group grew, our leaders grew. And that was the group that was the core of our locker room. And, the old adage of the good guys are outnumbering the bad guys, or, in the locker room, that got to be true. The folks that were causing challenges for us in the locker room were now being outnumbered by the folks who said, hey, this is the good we want to bring. And they did that. And so it changed hearts first, and then it changed the way we were able to compete. And so it has flipped our culture, and I give our coaches a lot of credit. They've given young people the freedom to do that. And it is been reflected in the things that we've been able to accomplish. And, we're not the best of everything in the world, but we've had some successes, and our folks have done a nice job. But it is born out of, I'm telling you, a really, really great culture of young leaders in our locker room.
Well, man, so good to have you with us. Thank you for joining us today. We know you got your hands full, not only with your own sports, but you're head of the NCAA basketball tournament committee and whatever that's going to look like. Appreciate you being with us. Yeah. Athletic directors, thank you for joining us today, and we'll be in touch. You'll see a slide right after this with more information. Thanks. Thanks, Mitch.
Thanks, sir.